and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I just wanted to come on and say hello. I've done a couple little videos here and there, but I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of just explain maybe what I want to do here. Maybe just ramble. We'll see. But I am trimming up some panels for some memory pillows I'm making. I do cotton line them because they're t-shirts, so we need to make sure they're not stretchy. So they are, each panel is lined with a woven 100% cotton. So I'm just trimming them up so that I can put them all together. But my name is Ambricio, and I own A&S Sewing and Design, where we do custom sewing, design, upholstery, functional art, stuff like that. Hence the pillows. If you may have seen some of my live sew-alongs that I started doing recently. And to be honest, I actually started a YouTube channel a while ago. I started it, and then life happened, and I never really got back to it. I kind of put some shorts up once in a while when I would remember to post. I'm super bad at like keeping up on my social media. I've been trying to get better. So now I just decided, you know what, I need to give it like a serious go. So here I am in my serious go, and I just kind of wanted to explain like why I'm here and what I want to do, and you know where the world, I hope the world is taking me. I don't know. We'll see. So one of the things is when I first opened my business, I was an artist who did functional art, bag making, who offered upholstery services. But upholstery services was like maybe a third of my business, no more than half for sure. It was just always really nice to have a little, I really like to use power tools. Okay, we're just gonna start with that. But it was always nice to have something that seemed a little more substantial to a little more reliable, we'll say. Income wise, I mean, it's not, but it is. And somewhere along the way, actually I know exactly where, but along the way, we just became upholstery. And occasionally we'll get to do some memory bears, and occasionally we'll get to do some really fun quilt projects, you know, because really we always say, oh, we can do anything, which I still say we can. But it just kind of turned into this do what everybody else wants, which is not, like, I joke around all the time and say I started my business so I could do whatever I want, and I can just work on whatever I want. And for the most part, I stuck with that. And then 2020 happened. Now I don't want to like say that, like, blame everything on that, because that's not necessarily what I'm trying to say. So what I mean by that is I'm in Wisconsin, and when everything was happening, we had to close for 2 months, just like a lot of the local businesses in our area. Our state had told us we had to close. We were not essential. We had to close. So we did survive on our savings. So it wasn't a financial, like, it sucked, because I'm one of those people that I like to have things set a certain way. And so we lived on our savings, and we made it. I mean, we survived. We've been open for quite a few years. So, you know, we're not afraid of going through lean times. And I've been poor before. I can do it. No big deal. But then after, when we were able to open back up and all the stimulus money was going around and everybody was spending money, we basically took on any project that would come through the door, because I was so worried about making sure that we had money put back into our savings account, making sure everything was getting paid and everything was getting taken care of, you know, and you know, the family was taking care of all the things that people worry about, right? And I know I wasn't alone in this, but that's somewhere along that way, it was just became upholstery. and we ended up not really getting to do a lot of the creative things. And like a lot of the OG followers on like Facebook was my big thing. I'm not super tech savvy, so I was mainly on Facebook, kind of Instagram, but that was it. They got to see, like, we used to do weekly lives where we did all kinds of fun projects, like just different projects. Whatever I wanted to do that night, we would do a Facebook live. And people loved it, and they would vote on the next project. They would give their opinions. Some things we made and gave away, some things we did and we kept, and some were gifts for family members, whatever, you know. Some we did and we put on the website for sale. It was just fun. Well, and then everything was happening. So not only that, we were under a lot of the stay-at-home orders and all the things that a lot of people went through, and I really did not take it well. Not to say that I was like in bad shape or anything, but I don't like to be told what to do, first of all. And second of all, I don't like the uncertainty and someone else telling me, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that, and now you're like cutting off a bunch of my income. And now, I had to learn different ways, which I did, but it put me in a little bit of a spiral. So when I say I don't handle it well, it wasn't like I didn't have like a breakdown or anything, but I just like totally I got very tunnel visioned is what happened. And I was like, I can do this. This is what people are calling me for. This is what I'm going to do. And everything else just kind of went by the wayside. It is what happened. And so then after a couple of years, things, obviously started leveling back out. And then I got stuck in that rut, and no matter how hard I tried to get out, I let myself get sucked back into just doing the upholstery and just not really doing anything else. And in our area, I love bold color, I love funny, I love creative. In our area, our demographic is very beige. There is nothing wrong with that if that's what you like, and not everybody likes bold furniture. Not everybody likes bold anything. And I get it, but I became very crabby. Like, I didn't have any creative outlet. I also tend to overwork myself, so I would get myself overscheduled because I was so nervous about getting back to where we were, and I kind of lost sight of why I even started my business to begin with. And so then, our projects are lined up pretty far out, so I can't just turn around and say, I'm not doing this anymore. I could. I got to the point where I said it a few times, but it never actually happened, obviously. But now I've been working towards getting in that creative time, being more creative, and being able to offer more creative options again, and not just the upholstery. So at the beginning first during the holidays, I went ahead. I've never actually advertised my memory bears or keepsake sewing. So this year, the hub said, why don't you just throw an ad up on Marketplace and see what happens? I did. And I got quite a few, actually. So that was very fun. And I've been doing them for a long time. So usually what happens is all word of mouth. They're like, oh, she can make anything, have her do it. So I've been doing them for a long time. And I have a pattern that I love to use. Although, if you saw my live last week, or as of recording, it's last week. It might be a couple weeks out from when it actually plays. But the new Brookie Bear that I did, I really love that. I'll add it to the lineup, but it might become my new default. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so I had been doing it. It's not like it was new, but I didn't really advertise it. It was word of mouth. And I was like, I really enjoyed it. This is what I've really been missing, because I had gone back to just doing the upholstery stuff. And so then we decided, you know what, we're going to do the more creative stuff. So we had been working for the beginning of the year. I started making sure that I was balancing out my time a little bit better and having time to do some of the creative stuff. I still had my obligations. I still had projects that were already on the books that I had to do because I follow through with my word, and that I was committed to those. So I did do those. And as I was scheduling new customers, I was trying to make sure I scheduled so I had more and more time. I can't just like say I'm doing all creative and go back to my old schedule altogether, because that's like quitting your full-time job before you're ready to run your business type of situation. So it's a little bit slower than I want, because I like immediate results. So who doesn't, right? So so I've been working towards that. I started doing my live sew-alongs, but I can only do them every other Saturday. I was gonna try to do them every Saturday, but at this moment I have to do every other. It's a little more work to set up than some people think, because not necessarily because it's a lot of work, but partially because we also have been still doing a lot of upholstery and filtering through the rest of that. So to clear off a whole upholstery project to pull out to do, you know, a single plushie, it just gets to be a juggle. So as of right now, I'm doing them every other Saturday, and I keep the schedule up on the link in my bio, and I put the schedule with the pattern link, so if you want, you can get it. You can sew along while I'm doing it, you know, all the things. But it like kind of unlocked something in me where I was like, no, I'm done. I'm back. We're doing this. So I had also done a plush backpack at the beginning of the year. If you follow my Substack, I'm, again, not super great at like staying consistent, but I'm getting better. I did a plush backpack, and it was just one of those things where it was like, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. And I did, and he's adorable. I love him. And so now I was like, this is what I'm doing. And so now we are taking further steps into doing more creative, kind of pulling back on the upholstery, not giving it up, because I do still like to do it. Power tools, hello. But just kind of putting it back into the business, not making it the whole business. The other thing is I have got a mountain of fabric. Like, this little bit that you see behind me is not even close. Like, it goes all the way back this way, like a whole room full of fabric. Some of it has yardage and some of it's remnant stuff, but there's not enough yardage to do like full upholstery projects. So it's just a lot. So I'm gonna try to incorporate a lot of that into projects so that we can use it. 'Cause I tried to list them for sale, and it's just very hard because people want what they want, and so they don't always want what you have, which is fine. We always just order new stuff, and it is what it is. So, but in the past, we had almost always used or tried to use upholstery weight fabrics for the bag making in a lot of situations, because it's really good for bag making. It's heavy duty, it lasts longer, you know, all the things. It's treated for stain resistance, which, girl, I need for my bags, because I am rough. I am rough on my bags. So it just checked a lot of boxes. So a lot of stuff does happen from upholstery fabric. So that wasn't even a problem. We just always tried to use up our leftover fabric as a good source of material. And so we just hadn't been. So the fabric's just been building up and building up. But then I had one of the littles in my family. She's talking to me, and then she goes, oh, you don't make fun stuff anymore. You just do boring furniture. Talk about a knife to the heart. I'll tell you what, she's 11 and she just knows how to gut you every time. So I said, well, actually, we've been changing things. And she got very excited because she used to love watching my stuff, and seeing pictures, and so that was fun. But then I had one of my older followers that I happened to see out in the wild when I was doing some things. She was actually the person that I ended up having my appointment with for some documents I had to do. And she's like, you know, you just don't have the passion. Like, you're good at what you do, but there's no passion there anymore. Like, where are the bags? I miss my purses, because she actually owns a couple of my purses. And so I was like, well, we're getting back. And we get onto this conversation. So my half-hour appointment ended up, like, we ended up going to lunch afterwards. So it was no joke. But we were talking about it, and just, I was like, nope, we're doing this, and this is what's going to happen. It is a little slower rolling than I would like, but now I'm to a point where I'm like, okay, we're committing. This is the direction I want to go, and YouTube is part of that journey that I wanted to do, so here I am. And I just really wanted to take a moment to come on and explain that, in case anybody would like to hear it. And yeah, this is me. I kind of ramble sometimes. I work on a lot of different things. I'm going to pull out a couple of my projects just to show you a little bit of what I have. Again, I have just previously started getting back into listing my creative creations. So the website only has a few things on there, but this will at least give you an idea of what you can look for. Obviously, we have the live sew-alongs that I've been doing. Those items I think I'm going to drop on my website quarterly. And I don't know if we want to call it like the misfit bin or like the laboratory, because it'll be things that I do like on my live sew-along, unless it's something I'm doing as a gift or something specifically a customer wanted. We can use those, because I also have to test my pattern. So like if I'm developing a new bag pattern, I will generally make it as a plush first, so that I know exactly how the shape is gonna be, and then from there I go back to my pattern and I put in the bag elements that I want, but then I know where things are sitting as a plush to know where they need to go. So those plush items would also go into this. I think we're just gonna call it the misfit bin. I don't know. So it'll be once a quarter. Sometimes it'll be a few, sometimes it'll be a lot. I don't know, but they'll be discounted from our regular stock, because they're items that we either did for the sew-along to demonstrate on, or they'll be items that we're testing patterns with, stuff like that. And then especially like memory bears, we do a lot of testing. And then also I have a situation coming, let me grab some plushes for you first. They're backpacks, but they're plush backpacks, so they're super cute. Hold on. Okay, so this is my Benny Bear. He's got button joints, so he moves, and this is my standard memory bear pattern that I use. This one right here is a sample that I made out of some leftover upholstery fabric that I actually really like, because I wanted to make some samples to keep here, because sometimes people will come in to pick up their pillow order and they'll be like, oh, you make bears? Can I have one made? So this way they see the size, the shape, everything, so they know exactly what I'm talking about. So then at the beginning of the year, I told you I made a plush backpack. This is it. This is Cosmo. I did a whole article about him on my Substack if you want to read the whole journey. But basically, this was the first guy of the year. And this is the one that was like, nope, we're unburying all of your passion. And this is what you're going to do for the rest of forever. And then these are my two latest that are done. I have some that were started. Hold on, they're kind of big. So this guy right here, and then we've got this monkey that just a second here. So here is my monkey. He is a sling bag, not a full backpack. I love this little hat, it's adorable. But he's a sling bag with just the single, because I wanted to tack his tail up so I wouldn't have been able to do both straps. So we're just doing a sling backpack for him. I like to, with the exception of the monkey, because of the way that I sewed him in, I like to do for my bags, the straps are removable with these little lobster clips, so you can change them out if you want a different color later down the road. I also make my straps extra big. I'm a bigger girl, and a lot of the standards that you read in instructions, they're big. They're small, and they cut. They're uncomfortable. So I make sure to use longer straps, and they're adjustable, so they, even at the smallest length, they still fit an average size adult. So that still works. And then I have another one that I recently did, but he's donated to our local Pride event to go into the silent auction that they use to raise money for the local Pride, and a couple other local groups that they do. So those are, you know, kind of the things that I do myself. And then to add extra chaos, to commit myself to making this change. Oh, I really put myself in it. I am getting back into doing markets, well, conventions or cons, really, not just like craft fair markets and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with a craft fair market. I used to do a lot of craft fairs. The only thing is that around here in this area, they're very beige, we'll say. They just don't bring in the demographic of customer that I have. So you got to go where your people are. So I'm going to a couple of different cons. I've been invited to a couple because I used to do them all the time. So when I went into one of my geeky people groups, I went into a couple actually, and I was like, okay, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I want to do. Are there any small events to like practice and get back into it? I got a couple, but then I did a couple of groups reached out and was like, hey, we heard you're coming out of retirement. I don't know why they called it that, but they did, so that's okay. It's been like close to a decade since I did a con, to be honest with you. So I guess you could call it retirement, but they're like, hey, we're gonna have openings, we want you there. All right, cool. But the thing is, like, one of them is this year in August. I'm like, I don't have enough time. Because not only would I have to make all my product, all of it, for a 2-day convention, also I need to get a whole new setup. I don't have, like, because when I was like, I'm done doing shows, I sold a lot of my stuff, and it's older, so it wouldn't have really, I would have had to replace it by now anyway, just because they wear out, they go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. So I would have had to replace it by now anyway. So I have to get a whole setup, and I just don't want to spend all the money all at once. I'd rather wait till next year's show so I can have a chance to find maybe some stuff that's used, or wait for some things to go on sale type of thing. And some of it I'm just going to build myself because I know what I like, and I'll be able to get what I want that way. And power tools. So yeah, so that is kind of where I'm going on that, but that also means some fan art. Some of them, I have 4 set up that I'm applying for. Let me say applying for, because nothing's guaranteed until you have an acceptance. Even if they invite you, until there's an acceptance and you've paid that bill, you're not guaranteed. So I don't want to jinx it, but I have 4 that I'm looking to get into specifically. And it started off with like a list of 12 in the area, and then you research and you find out what the themes are, and you know, stuff like that. Themes, the booth costs, what the previous year's traffics are like. So a lot of the cons for this year, even if I wanted to, their deadlines are already passed. So I really couldn't have done most of them if I wanted to. And the ones that I could, there's just not enough time for me to prep, because I still have other obligations that I have to take care of before. So if everything went according to life, according to plan, everything, and I mean everything, I could get it done. But when does that ever happen, right? And it always, like, is the worst when you expect it to go to plan. Then it definitely won't. So I just said, no, I'm going to be patient. I'll wait till next year. The first one is in March. I will be putting the full schedule up once I start getting the official letters and everything. But I will be, in the meantime, prepping. So you'll see some bulk prep videos for some of my fan art, and then maybe I should tell you now, I'm super geeky and nerdy. Not like I'm going to say I'm super geeky and nerdy. Somebody else is going to say I'm not geeky and nerdy enough, and someone else is going to say, yeah, you're a giganto nerd. I am. I love Star Wars. I love... Most of my t-shirts are cartoon character t-shirts. It is what it is. So I guess I'm middle of the road nerdy and geeky. Anyway, I like the cons. They're extra fun. Even if it's their theme isn't something that I'm totally like a fan of, I still enjoy it because I enjoy being around the people and the events, and the art is still fun. Like I still love creating in those styles. So, and then even then, a lot of my other stuff, like, so just a sneak peek into some of the things, like I have developed some new patterns for some dragon backpacks, some unicorn backpacks, and then I have some Pokemon purses. So all of them, I like to do plush bags and novelty. So like I have a donut purse, Pop-Tart purse, you know, stuff like that. So I have other things that aren't just fan art. I have things that I do. But the fan art is fun in the events that want the fan art. I don't typically make a habit of doing those things outside of that, but when the event says, hey, you know, fan art, I do the fan art. It's fun. I like doing it. So, but the events are always just fun anyway. The people, the camaraderie, and it just feels like when you're at those events, it just feels kind of freeing because people there they have similar interests. So it's more having fun and being a little more free to be yourself and not trying to put on a show to impress other people. You're putting on a show and feeding off of each other and just having fun. You know, it's not, I have to look this way because someone else might see me, or I have to do this. You know, it's just, you get to be you and the other people around you are being them, and you just all kind of mesh well. And that is what I love. And so, like I said, even if I'm not a fan of like the particular exact theme, the events are always so fun. They always are. And so I'm very excited to be back into them. To be honest, when I quit doing them, I just had some serious burnout, and it happens when you don't let yourself, you know, take breaks, or you don't let yourself do some of the things you want. So now I'm going back, and that's what I want, and so I'm gonna do that. And I probably would have gone back sooner, to be honest, if it wasn't for all the other previously mentioned things that had happened, because they were all closed down for a little while, and then they were slow to build back up, some of them, and then by then I was already spiraling into this, like, what do you mean creative stuff? So I'm also doing some upcycle sewing, so that's extra fun. I always love doing some upcycle stuff so that we can help save some stuff from the landfill, or at least prolong its life so it gets extra life, you know, type of things. So that is always fun. But yeah, and I'm always open to suggestions. I don't always take them or act on them, I guess I should say, but I'm always open to them. And yeah, I don't really know if I have much else to say other than I'm very excited, and I really hope that some other people enjoy the journey too, and have some fun. Maybe we can learn something from each other. If not, should be good for a good laugh at least once in a while. I'm always experimenting and trying new things. I swear every time I say I have an idea, I swear my husband's like rolling his eyes. He doesn't actually do it, but I know he thinks it. So no, he's super supportive. He's such a great guy. He's the S in A&S. But he's very supportive, super sweet. He's not a people person. He does not get in front of the camera, occasionally, but not really, and I respect that. He doesn't want to. I'm not gonna make him. But Occasionally he'll get on and say hi, but he's behind the camera a lot of times. He's definitely helping me set up, tear down, haul things around, take furniture apart. He's always there to help. He's always supportive. And you know what? He never tells me my ideas are too crazy. He does let me figure it out on my own when I need to, but he'll never tell me that it's crazy, even when it is. So, yeah. So I guess that's it. But yeah, I'm just gonna finish up my last few panels here. They're some t-shirts, and I'm so excited for her to see them. She's picking them up on Monday, so in a couple of days from now, from when I'm filming this anyway. But yeah. But if you have any questions, definitely feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you have any suggestions on patterns you want to see made, let me know. Yeah, I like working with all kinds of different fabrics and different textures, and I just like having a good time. But yeah, I'm not a good teacher, but I'm really good at giving my opinion, and I can definitely like show you how I do something. Like that's what I do like about the sew alongs. Like I can show you how I do it, and I can walk through the steps of a pattern, but I'm not a good teacher mostly because I don't have patience. I'm the person that will say, here, I'll do it myself, it'll be faster. So I am not a good teacher, but I'm really good at giving my opinion. I'm very good at reading the instructions, and I can read the instructions and do the steps while we're on the video. But yeah, so I do the best I can. But if there's a pattern that you want someone else to try before you buy it, or maybe a pattern you have that you don't understand, and I can do a live sew along and we can go through the steps together, you know. I'm definitely open to that. Otherwise I have a list. Look, okay, there was a couple of pattern sales that went on in the early spring. I may have gone a little crazy and bought a lot of them. I'm not even exaggerating. I probably bought 50, 55 plush patterns. I'm not kidding. So I definitely have a lot to go through. So if there's one you're looking for, look, I can go through my collection and we'll see. So definitely let me know. And yeah, I think that's all I got. So if you, anything, let me know. Otherwise, if you made it this far and you're still hanging in there, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button and the bell icon to be notified of new videos coming up if you are a glutton for punishment for more of my ramblings. I promise that I'll try to be fun, and yeah, that's it. Have a good day. Love you. Bye.